You're listening to The A to Z of Spirituality by Divine Soul Yolandi Bossel. I work with light workers and starseeds who are ready to transform their lives and shine. I will be covering loads of topics relating to spiritual growth, and I will teach you what I have learned on my own journey so far. A journey of connecting with my sacred Mary Magdalene sisterhood, my cosmic lineage, my earth ancestors, sacred sites around the world, and my own divine soul. So, if you are ready for some profound ideas and deep spiritual connection, make sure you join me today. Grab a cuppa and let's shine. Welcome, beautiful divine soul. This is Yolandi today speaking about authenticity, and this is our podcast number 2, talking a bit more in practical terms about authenticity and how we can basically help ourselves in the process of becoming more real and really tuning into what it is that we want out there in the world. Okay, so what I've done is I've created a few very simple steps for you to have a look at, and I would suggest that if you maybe want to pause and grab a journal, because there might be some stuff that you want to start jotting down. And for me, it's always the process is always inwards, right? Know thyself. You guys have seen on my strapline on my podcast, that's what it's all about with me. So we need to understand why we do things and why we make certain choices. And that's what authenticity is all about, to figure out why am I doing this and how do I get closer to my soul. So I've put down a couple of steps that I'm going to take you through today, and I'd love for you to follow the process. And I was thinking that we can work with big obstacles that you're facing in your life right now. So what I'd love you to do is I would like you to identify a big obstacle in your life at this point in time. So just take a second now and think about something that is really like holding you back, something that feels very much like almost like a fence, like a gate that you have to get through so you can get to the next stage of your life, right? So I'm going to use the example just because I've been through this, so I know all about it. But the whole example of that fear of being myself and that fear of other people judging me for how I show up in the world, for the work that I do, for my choices, all that type of stuff. So that's the theme that I'm going to be sharing around today. And I want you to now, whatever your obstacle is, just apply these steps that we're going to be doing today and like work with it in that vein. Okay, so the very, very first thing is part of our work, and for me, very much part of the journey of discovering yourself and working with yourself is to listen to your body. Now, your body is your intuition, right? Your body is your radar system. It is the thing that connects you to energy. It's the thing that connects you to Mother Gaia. It's the thing that connects you to the cosmos. It connects you to other people. And what we have sort of almost forgotten as people is how to start listening to our bodies and trusting what we are feeling. You know, like sometimes when you walk into a room and you see someone there and you just go, oh my God, that guy's got such a weird vibe about him. And you can just feel how uncomfortable you are. Or you might be like walking down the road and you just get chills down your spine and you're like, oh, what is that? Like, I feel really uncomfortable. Okay, so that's our bodies picking up on energy. And for me, our bodies also tells us yes and no, right? So if I'm making decisions or I need to tune into making like deciding between things, my body can actually tell me like yes or no, this is good for me or not. And for me, it always felt like my body is literally another way that my soul gets to talk to me. So I was taught this by my beautiful friend Aylat. So she writes this really, well, she's written this awesome book called If I Love Myself, What Would I Do? So go check it out. It's really fabulous. And she actually taught us this at a workshop that I attended. So all thanks to her for this awesome little nugget of like fabulousness that she shared. And I want to share this with you guys today. So in the workshop, what she did, she said to us like, what does your yes and what does your no feel like? Okay, so our body has got a yes feeling and our body's got a no feeling. And when I closed my eyes and I tuned into something that felt really good. Like when I was doing stuff that lit me up, that made me feel like so in my power, how did my body feel? So I want you to go in today, take a second now, and close your eyes and just think about something really awesome. Think about like a situation where you were just kick ass, like you were full on in your power, you were the best that you could ever be. Okay, so when I tune into my body, when I am in those moments, like everything feels open, right? Like I literally feel like I've got wings, like my heart is all open. I'm just like all flowy and stuff. So what does your yes feel like? Because you can feel it anywhere, right? You might feel it in your tummy, or you might feel it in your throat, or your heart might flutter. But just generally, a yes is always something that's a little bit lighter, that's a little bit more expansive. So I want you to identify that now. Then take a few seconds, go in there. Let's quickly see. Okay. So just jot down or make a mental note. This is what my yes feels like. Then what does my no feel like? Okay, so if I'm in a situation where I know that I'm making a choice that I'm not comfortable with, or I'm doing something that I don't feel good about, what does my body feel like? So I want you to close your eyes now, and I want you to imagine, like, what does no feel like? Think of a situation where you made a really bad choice, or you knew that what you were doing was not right. Like, this choice that I'm making does not serve my soul. So tune into that now and just see, what does it feel like? Okay, so for me, my no is very, very closed. Like I literally, like my tummy, my solar plexus area, it's just like it closes up, and I'm like uncomfortable, and I don't feel good, and everything is just like almost like you're short of breath. Okay, so that's what my no feels like. So I want you to understand that your body tells you something. So what does your no feel like? Just close your eyes, tune into it, and feel. Okay. So now, for me, when we are looking at our obstacles, when we are looking at the stuff that makes us uncomfortable, we use our body as a sort of a barometer, right? And that yes and no, I want you to use that when you're making choices for yourself, okay? So I just wanted you to tune into that and like put it in the back of your mind and make a mental note there. So now, if I'm going into my obstacle, and I'm thinking, so for me, like if I go into the obstacle of being judged or like feeling like scared and vulnerable, I feel it in my body, right? So go into that feeling of that obstacle, because you need to understand what that feels like. Because this is important for the future, because every time you get presented with a situation that basically almost replicates that energy. So, say, like that energy of judgment with me, right? Every time I walk into a situation where I feel judged, I feel it in my body. I feel it in my solar plexus. I get really nervous. I feel like like quite uptight, and it's almost like I can't breathe properly. Again, very much like my no, right? So I feel like my body is very restricted, and I feel constricted, almost like what's the right word? Like almost a bit claustrophobic when I think about that obstacle. So now for me, the reason I want you to understand that obstacle is that if you go forward in life and you're in situations with your friends and your family or at work or whatever, and that feeling that is associated with the obstacle comes out, you need to be able to identify it. When you are standing somewhere and you're going, oh my God, I'm feeling that again, that feeling, that body feeling, that restrictive obstacle feeling is in me again. Oh, I better remember this. This is a warning light from my soul to say, boom, make better choices. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. So for me, it's like I tune into my body. I go, oh my God, look, I'm stepping into that judgment space again. I think people are judging me. I'm getting fearful. Boom, what is my choice? What am I going to do here? Okay. Because what we want to do is we want to consciously make ourselves aware of these obstacles and these things happening with us, because if I'm conscious about it, it can't rule my life, right? So whenever my judgment stuff comes up, I'm like, boom, I can feel it in my body. Look what I'm doing. I'm not going to go back into my hole and be all scared. I'm going to stand up and I'm going to behave in a way that is appropriate and positive and works with my soul. Okay, so that's why I want you to understand it, because you have to be in that space where you can feel what's happening with you. Okay, so I hope like that sort of paints the picture for you of what I'm trying to do here today. So we need to be able to identify our obstacle situations, and you can literally go and take all of the stuff that you're struggling with in your life, right? How does it make your body feel? How does it show up in your life? Because every time you go there and you feel it, you're like, oh, wow, cool. I can see it's like this is part of my shadow that's like showing itself and I need to deal with it. Okay, so that's the first part. So the body work is really important for me, and it's important to always feel in, to be very conscious about what is my body trying to tell me, because she is always talking to me. Now the next part is that I want you, and this obviously we're not going to have enough time today, so I want you to just like take note of where in the recording we are, and then come back to these questions or note them down as we're speaking today, because it is important to understand what these obstacles make us feel like. Okay, where are they showing up? So I'm going to ask you a few questions today about your obstacles, about these things, these challenges in your life, because you again need to go deeper into them. You need to understand where do they come from, why are they presenting themselves in your life. So let's take my obstacle, my judgment obstacle. Okay, so how does perceived judgment from other people make me feel? Okay, so it makes me feel small, it makes me feel insignificant, it makes me feel like it's restricting me, like a big barrier in my life. But why does it make me feel this way? Okay, because I think that people are looking at my work, people are looking at what I'm doing, and they're sitting there and they're trying to, um, you know, mess with my work or mess with who I am as a person. So why does it make me feel like that, right? It makes me feel insecure. It makes me feel extremely vulnerable. All of these things. So you need to sit and unravel. Why does it make me feel that? How does it make me feel? Why does it make me feel like this? Where in my life does this keep on happening? So, like, say you're at work the whole time and there's people who are judging you the whole time, or maybe your family is judging you the whole time, or maybe some of your friends are judging you the whole time, right? But you need to sit and see, because also, just a little thought here, very often, like, we have this imagined idea of people doing things which they've actually never done, right? So I catch myself very often thinking, oh, but like this one's doing this, or I think this one might be. And then I'm like, but have they ever done it? No, they haven't, right? I just imagine this is what they're doing, sitting at home thinking about me. But it's bullshit, right? It's such nonsense. So, like, think about like this realistically. Has anyone ever overtly judged you, stopped you in the street, said, Yolandi, you are a useless person, I hate what you're creating, and you should be executed for this, because that's where a lot of our issues come from. It's these past life energies that we hold on to, and we think we're going to be persecuted, and we think we're going to be judged for speaking our truth and being in our power and all that type of stuff. But no one's actually ever done anything to make me feel like this. This is all my head conjuring up these vivid dreams and imaginational things, which isn't even true. So this stuff, sometimes I just make it up. So think about this, because you might be making this whole obstacle far worse than it actually is. Maybe no one's ever going to say anything. Remember when I spoke last week about like thinking how my family was going to judge me, and yet they're my greatest supporters. Okay, so you need to go into, why am I feeling so scared of what people are going to say? Is it me just judging me, actually? You need to turn this obstacle on yourself and mirror it back to what you are doing, and like, why am I feeling like this? And one thing that's also important, and I think this comes to when we are dealing with the emotions associated with some of these things, our obstacles and our struggles, is if I feel extreme sadness about something, if I feel, for instance, that say my family was actually judging me, right? Say my husband hated my work and he was just like, oh, this is such weird stuff and why are you doing this and all that. I need to then, when he speaks those words on me, when he says those things to me, how does it make me feel inside? Like, does it tear my heart open? Does it make me feel really sad? Does it make me feel like I want to cry? And then let myself also experience those feelings, right? Because very often we kind of suppress the emotions that comes with these obstacles and these things in our lives. So we put them down, but we don't allow ourselves to feel them. You don't allow yourself to feel the sadness of people judging you or the anger or whatever emotion it might be for you. But what if you just tuned in for a second and tuned into the sadness and allowed yourself to shed the tears? Or what if you tuned into the anger and allowed yourself to punch the pillow or scream out loud or just get it out of your system? Because all of the stuff, holding on to it, doesn't serve you either, right? So I want you to really, with this work, like, you need to unravel this thing. That's what it's all about. Like, we need to unravel these ideas that we hold and all of this. And for me, the best thing is always like, I'm always like, why do I feel like this? Why is this happening? Why? Why is my companion word when it comes to my shadow work? Okay. So I want you to ask all these questions, really take your concept, take your obstacle, and like pull it apart. Like for me, it's always, I see it as like spaghetti, right? It's all the spaghetti that's all rolled up. And if I just start pulling it apart, then I can start seeing all these strands and it's almost like it starts making sense, right? So I can put it into, if you can imagine those beautiful, like when they make the spaghetti, it all hangs over those wooden rods. So now I can take these pieces of spaghetti and I can put them there and I can observe them properly and I can see it properly for what it is. And I can go, oh, that's bullshit spaghetti. Oh, that one's okay. That makes sense. I know I was harmed during my childhood and someone insulted me. Okay, no, that one, I'll keep that one and this one I'll throw away, right? So you want to be in that space of sort of objectively looking at your spaghetti. Okay. Yeah, just, you guys should know me by now. And my guides speak in weird little analogies. So now that I'm there and I've got my pot of spaghetti and I've started taking my strands and I'm putting them out there, I can stand back. Okay, I can objectively start looking at these things, these issues that I've identified, and I can see how I am behaving. So when I'm outside of the emotion, so imagine everything that's hanging there, all of those things that you've unraveled, all of that is connected to your emotions. It's like this like really hectic, heavy situation that you're in, and it's stopping you from living your life, and everything is really hard around it. But when I get into that, I call it 5D consciousness, right? Where I literally see myself stepping out of something and I can observe it. So I go, okay, I'm not in the emotion of this. I'm detached from my spaghetti hanging there. Okay. And then, like, I look at my choices then. So example, when I'm with my family, for instance, I don't want to talk about my beliefs because I think they're going to judge me. Okay. So what is my choice here? Like what? So I'm feeling shame around my belief system. Okay. That is my choice. I make a choice to basically, from a point of view of shame, I will not then speak about what I believe in because I'm shameful of it. Okay, so look at the energy that's underpinning my choice there. Look at the energy that is behind my choice. And if I'm in that space of feeling shame about what I believe, then what's going to happen? If I make a choice that's filled with shame, I'm going to create more situations that attract shame to me. Okay? So what if I looked at this and I said, what if I didn't care about what they thought? What if maybe they actually agreed with me? What if I just started speaking about what I feel? about what I want to do, what would happen then? What if I made that choice? Okay, there might be a fallout, there might not be a fallout. Okay, but you need to go and look at these things and look at the energy behind it. Because if you come from a space of love, and if you, in a loving way, for instance, say to your family, these are my beliefs, but I don't want you to believe the same as me, or I will never force you to believe the same as me, but you need to respect my choice to believe this situation, this X thing, and that's all I ask of you. So I come from a space of love. So my choice is to be honest about my belief, but I'm not going to put my belief down your throat and ask you to believe the same thing as me, right? So think about that, because every time those choices, but most of the time we just don't say it, or we hide it, or we feel shame around it, or we feel guilty about it because we're so scared of what people are going to say. But if I come from a space of love and explain that this is how I feel about this and this is what I'm thinking, but I don't require you to believe it, I don't require you to change your whole life to be in alignment with my soul belief, how can that be wrong, right? It's just about the courage to do that, and the courage to listen to our hearts and to start talking about what we feel, to start saying how we want to say things in the world, and to start being more authentic to what we feel deep inside. Okay, so all of this stuff is really just about you understanding, like, why am I making these choices? Like I said last time, all of this stuff is just about choices. And as I was sitting and just thinking about the work today and what I was going to talk about and stuff, the word courage came up. And there was this quote that I wrote down on my board that's next to my desk. And it says, "The greatest risk we will ever take is to stand in the light and be seen as we are." Okay, and that quote, like, literally defines my being, all my work, everything that I do. Everything I do is risky. Everything I believe is risky in this society of ours, right? But I stand in my life despite that risk. I stand in my light in full force because it's what my truth is and it's what my soul wants to do. And so far, I've had no one banging down my door wanting to burn me at the stake. So that's fabulous. Um, I've had very little backlash from people that I love. I've lost a few people, like I said before, but there was no worst case scenario. And the thing is, it's it's time to start realizing that your beliefs and your ideas now in this century that we are in is probably more accepted than ever before in the history of mankind. Everyone's consciousness is shifting towards a different way of looking at things. Everyone is busy expanding their consciousness, starting to be almost more tolerant as well of, like, different beliefs, different ideas, all that type of stuff. So your job is to figure out what your truth is, right? Your job is to see that this is all the stuff I believe, and then align yourself with that. Okay, that's your job. Nothing more, nothing less. You just need to show up in the world as yourself. Okay, but it needs to be your truth, not my truth, not some other, like, person that you're following, not some mom or dad or grandfather truth. This is your own authentic truth, and have the courage to relook at what you've been taught. Have the courage to step back and go, oh my God, my ancestors have done this for 5,000 years this way, but is this right? Does it feel right to me? Is this what I should be doing? Okay. I love doing ancestral healing work. And for me, this year was a biggie with my ancestors and everything that's gone to pass, and so many beautiful events happening, like forcing me to look at what is my beliefs and how do I firstly forgive my ancestors, and secondly also um, take, almost, what's the word that I'm looking for, like, I've taken some of the good stuff that they've done, and that is part of my lineage. Okay, the strength and the courage and all that type of stuff, that's part of my lineage, so I own that. But I also detached myself from the stuff that didn't resonate with me. Okay, so um, that is me for today. There's quite a lot of stuff. I hope that you've made some notes, and I would absolutely love to hear how your experience with delving deeper into your authenticity goes, and aligning yourself more with what your soul really desires, how that all goes. And yeah, please do share and let me know what you found, and just yeah, just stay with that light, right? That is what this is all about for me. So perfect. Right, so that's the episode for today. And then basically in 2 weeks' time, we're going to be dealing with B, and B is for boundaries. So that's going to be fun to talk a bit more about our boundaries and how to enforce that. So it's good to start with authenticity, because if you're in the space of like understanding your truth better, you're also going to be able to dig into your boundaries a little bit better and get a better overview of that. Okay. So have fun doing the work, have fun like exploring these parts of yourself, because that's the one thing that I'm learning every single day, is that this stuff is fun, right? It doesn't have to be heavy. We don't have to be dealing with this shit for another 50 years. And I literally am in the space where I feel like I refuse to attach myself to the heaviness of all this work anymore. It is joyous to get to know myself. It is joyous to feel my pain. It is joyous for me to understand myself better, even if some of it really, really hurts. But also, emotions are moments in time. Okay, moments in time where the pain comes, and then we release, then we let it go, and we learn from it. So that's me. I'll just keep rambling and rambling if I can. I've got so much to say about this. So anyway, so next time I'll be there with my B for boundaries. Have a fantastic week, and just yeah, look after yourself and dig a little deeper. Thank you.